fast, efficient and affordable business-grade hosting solutions, domain registration, SSL certificates and more. We also monitor and provide website security and update services, website builds, email hosting amongst other sensational products. If you have a question about your web page or your presence on the internet in general, no job is too big or too small. Visit our website today, or better yet, contact us at blueoceanwebhosting.com.au and leave your website issues to us.
Big ones, little ones, fiddly ones, powerful ones, the ones for the car or the truck, caravan, boat, mobility scooter, solar system. In fact, for any kind of battery, go straight to Battery Central Ipswich. They'll even help you when you know what you need to power, but have no idea what'll do the job. Battery Central Ipswich, 280 Brisbane Street, West Ipswich, behind the Yellow Building. Expert advice, better batteries, best prices, every day. That's Battery Central Ipswich.
Welcome to episode 756 of the Aussie Tech Heads. I'm Jason Oakley and this is Will Tompkinson. Hey, Will.
Hey, mate.
How's things going up north?
Well, first it was really cold, and then it was wet, and then it was a bit more wet, and then it got really hot, and then it got really hot and wet, and then it got really hot again, and then it got really wet, then some more wet, and then some more wet, and a bit hotter, and then some more wet with hot.
Ah.
So
a lot of
basically
humidity and wet carpets again?
It's like 42, 43 degrees,
Jeez.
90-odd% humidity, and it's been raining for like the last 6 hours, so...
We had a bit of rain today, but ours cooled down to like 26 or something.
Yeah,
So less humidity, which is good.
So the more rain we had, the worse it seemed to make it.
Yeah.
But it's just been like we've had massive storms the last 2 or 3 nights, like old school, good old fashioned thunder and lightning, and
Very, very frightening.
No hail, just like horizontal rain. Literally horizontal. So we got you look out our kitchen window, we've got a big like bay window looking out at the kitchen, and then we've got like the back deck, which is 10 meters wide, something like that. It's wide enough that I can park the van under there and still have room to walk around it. And we thought we might have got hail, so I parked the van in there, and I heard the rain. I thought, that's interesting. I got up to get a drink, and the window was wet. So the rain, it only had about a 2-foot gap to come in because the van's parked in the deck, under the deck. So it actually had to come horizontal
to get in there,
past the van, along the deck, and hit the window.
Jeez.
So it was, of course, blowing that strong that it's blowing the water back up the roof. So it's not coming down the guttering like it normally does. It's going up the roof and backing up along the skylight. And the wind's pushing it up the skylight and over the top, and it's actually coming in the skylight from the front side of the rain going up and over.
It's nuts.
So, yeah. So that was interesting.
Well, as long as you're having fun, that's the main thing.
Not really my definition of fun, but I mean, I guess, I shouldn't complain. We didn't lose power, or we did for a few minutes, but, nothing. Normally you get 3 drops of rain and you got power out for 2 days here, but so far, it seems to be a little bit more robust at the moment.
Cool.
So
I've been doing a bit of money spending. Check this out. I got a Pebble. Not a Pebble watch.
I mean, you could wear it as a watch, I guess.
You could try. It's got a little subwoofer and a couple of mini speakers, so it does 2.1 quite nicely. And with the technology you got now, you can even sort of kind of fake 5.1 a bit. But they just sit on the desk there and subwoofer on the floor over there and get some really good sound. Because I haven't had any sound output except for my BenQ, which has got a pissy little speaker in it.
Mm.
And if I didn't want to have the headphones on, then you just couldn't really hear something. And sometimes I just like to, play a game, listen to music without the headphones on. Sometimes my daughter comes in, she's like, "Oh, Dad, I want to show you this YouTube video. Can you turn your headphones around so I can hear it as well?" We can both. So I'm like, screw it, I'm gonna go buy it. And I was only going to get the 2 speakers, but the subwoofer, I think, added in was like an extra $15-20. So I thought I'll get the subwoofer with it too. Might as well get a bit of extra boom.
And they're good to put your feet on.
Yeah.
So the perfect height to rest your feet
Mine's
on.
over there.
I mean, you could still rest your feet on them, I guess.
Yeah, I don't want too much under my desk here. I get annoyed with stuff under there. I've already got all these cables dangling down the back. I should really tie up again because they're dangling down where my feet are.
I've kind of given up with cable management because the way my luck works, everything works perfectly right up to the point where I can't access it anymore. As soon as I can't get to that cable, or
if it's messy, it's fine.
Yeah,
but if you tidy it up, it's like,
like wherever it is now, this sensor for the Oculus.
Yep.
Had the Oculus working perfectly. I've been working it all weekend, tested, find out cables running everywhere just to test it to make sure it's working.
Works.
Pulled everything apart, set the system up, moved everything, moved the whole room around to accommodate the VR better, tucked all the cables out of the way, even got proper extension cable. Well, you can't see that because it's blue and the green screen doesn't know what to do with it. But yeah, I even got proper extension cables to extend the USB 3s for the sensors and everything, and hooked it all together, and one of the sensors died.
Jeez.
And it's the sensor that's at the back of the room, so it's the one I had to run the cable all the way around the room to get to.
Yeah.
I thought, maybe it's just USB is too long or something, and so I'll check it. So I swapped it over with one of the other ones, and they work perfectly fine. So yeah, that sensor died. I'm like, for crying out loud.
God.
So,
Can't win.
No, it's typical though. That's why I just it's a functioning mess. It's a mess, but
it's a functioning mess.
And it's really easy to find a problem.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Oh, look, that cable goes from there to there. There it is. So
I also did a little bit of other online shopping. I bought a couple more Ring security cameras.
Ring.
So I'll stick one at the front of the house on that side to monitor for going down the side of the house and in front of the garage, and then stick one out the back here for the back fence and side gate and everything. Because we've had this little town and the one next to it have had a bunch of break-ins over the last few weeks. And on Australia Day, they broke into a computer store and stole a whole heap of stuff. So I figure I might as well stick with the Ring network, which I've already got the doorbell. So I'll have 3 cameras around the house, which should help. These ones have got spotlights, got 4 LEDs down each side.
Yep.
So if someone comes near, it'll turn the spotlight on to get a really good picture. And it's also got a remote siren that you can set off, ear-piercing one to scream in their ears and make them go away. But it all connects through to the app together. And if one of them senses... You can set it to person only, so it doesn't detect cats or cars or anything like that. But if one of them sees something, all the cameras turn on at the same time.
Yeah.
Just in case he nicks around the front, and before the camera can turn on around there, they're all going at the same time. So hopefully that should be quite good.
They record locally as well as Wi-Fi, don't
they? Just through the Wi-Fi, I think.
Oh, they don't have a local buffer?
I'm not sure. I haven't actually looked into that.
So no, so the ones I've got, I've got the Reolink cameras for work, for setup, which I'm also putting at home here.
Yep.
But they've got an SD card internally as well.
Oh, okay.
So even if there's a network error or something happens, or you can happen if you get 2 or 3 cameras trigger simultaneously, and they all try to record at the same time. Sometimes the server can lag a bit and it misses the first few seconds while it's trying to catch up. So they record everything to their local SD as well as doing a dump to the thing, but it means the network's not as critical. So worst case scenario, somebody comes and breaks in and steals the server or whatever, or cuts the network cables, the cameras will still record locally. So
and these ones have got rechargeable batteries and a solar panel. So
yeah,
I'll stick the solar panel up, and they're fully wireless. They go on the Wi-Fi with their own battery to recharge, so they should just last forever and you won't have to change anything.
It's funny, when I used to do security and surveillance pre-2000, to do that, to have a video camera on your doorbell
Yep.
that instantly records without you having to do it, you could do it.
Mm.
It was about a $5,000 system though.
Mm.
Yeah, you had to have. At the time, Grantech was one of the few companies that was actually doing like 4B and C input capture cards at 30 frames at 30 frames a second at 640 by 480,
Yep.
or 15 frames a second at like 800 by 600. And that was the maximum resolution for the cameras. Anyway,
That's all we needed back in our day.
unless you went up into the big commercial CCTV cameras that they used at like the casinos and stuff. But then you go from a $2,000 camera to a $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 camera. But yeah, even a basic setup with average business, you know, would it? You walk into most even bakeries now, they've got 3 or 4 cameras.
Yep.
You know, 20 years ago, that was $10,000 worth of hardware sitting there. They couldn't afford to have $10,000 worth of hardware sitting in a bakery.
No, that's right.
You know, but now whether it's Ring or whether it's there's 2 or 3 companies doing them.
Google Nest has come to Australia now too, which I would have got, but they didn't have the doorbell until a couple of months ago, and I bought mine like 6 months ago. So
yeah,
Google missed out.
Once you're sort of vested in an infrastructure, you tend to stay there.
Yeah.
Which is why I've gone with the Rear Links. They're not the absolute best cameras, and they're not the best software, but they're really good compromise between price and performance.
Yep.
They are generally pretty reliable and very rarely crash. They usually always, if they do crash, they usually reboot themselves and handle themselves anyway.
Uh-huh.
You know, and they're not fantastic picture quality. There are better ones, but the thing is, you're paying 3 times the price to get a 10% picture increase.
Yeah, you don't need
know,
that.
so it's like, yeah, it's like it's not really. I mean, if I had, maybe the only one I might invest in a super high resolution camera would be one to put directly behind me at the counter.
Yep.
So that like anybody walks up to the counter, it's a super high res on their face. That might be maybe worth investing in a slightly higher quality camera for that. But
yeah,
if the thing's outside with cobwebs over it and trees blowing, you can't see the picture anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
actually, they work really well in the rain. One of my cameras is a PTZ, so it's one of the tracking ones, the orb cameras that follow you around, and it's got 6 infrared spotlights on it.
Ah,
and when it goes low light, like when it's raining heavily, that actually drops into night mode and turns the infrareds on, and it makes it look crystal clear, like it's not even raining.
Oh, okay.
Sees through the raindrops. Yeah, it's really cool.
Nice.
So that's a night mode thing, I think. But yeah, no, the Ring. I'm looking at the Google Nest one at home just because I have a couple of Google products. I don't know.
That's I would have gone with it if I could.
Yeah, I don't know.
Weren't in Australia yet.
I haven't really decided which way to go yet. If anyone's got any ideas on what's a good, it's got to be something you can integrate into themselves, obviously, but it's something that's somewhat future-proofed and something that has multiple devices other than just doorbells. Like I want to actually put an alarm in, and I want to put the electronic door locks, and so I want the full thing. So I got a couple of ideas, but everything I look at is American. There doesn't seem to be much in Australia doing it, so I don't know.
Yeah, some of them got glass breaking sound detection and notify if. Yeah.
The glass one's actually an interesting. It works on the particular frequency of glass breaking.
Yep.
But it also there's 2. The ones that just work with the microphone that pick up glass breaking, they'll false trigger with lots of different noises at a higher frequency. But the really good alarm systems that I used to install actually had flex sensors on the front of they had a little like a little pin on the front of the thing, and actually stuck on the window.
Yep.
So if the glass shattered, that pin would fire out, and it would know that there's nothing there.
Oh, all right.
It's a mechanical.
Yep.
It wouldn't false trigger. So
yes,
yeah.
I think there's other things like smoke detectors and that all integrate into these things.
Yeah, well now in Queensland they've all got to be hardwired, and they've got to be synchronized or something, so that you got to have minimum of 2 or 3, and They've got to be hardwired together, and they've got to be all these new fandangle things now. I don't know. I haven't really looked into that yet. But once again, it's supposed to stop false triggering. So if you burn something in the kitchen, it goes, "Oh no, it's just them cooking again." It knows. So I have to look into that a bit more.
Left the stove on again. The other thing that I did, I was looking at, because I use Camtasia for editing video files. And I was like, I wonder how much it would be to get the latest one. So I went to the TechSmith website, $459. So I was like, that's not a good idea. So I thought, what about Upgrade? Okay, Upgrade is about $215. Honey says, oh, hang on, I could do a coupon. Let me try a few coupons. Okay, it's now $189. I was like, well, still a bit much for what I was looking for. So I went and had another look at HitFilm Express.
Yeah.
Installed that. Watched a quick YouTube demo of how to work stuff with it, and went, this is pretty much exactly the same as Camtasia, only better.
And free.
With more options and free. But the free one doesn't have dark mode theme. They want you to pay for that. So I had a look at the packages to pay for, and there's a $9 US package, which gives you the basic and dark mode theme.
Yep.
Then there's one for about $20 and one for $35. And I was like, $189 Australian versus 35 US, which works out about $57 Australian. I'm just going to buy the high package for the Express. I mean, they've got a pro version if you want to pay $350 and stuff like that, but paying just $57, which is it's like a quarter of the price of Camtasia, does all the same stuff plus it more.
Does a lot more.
And I was like, this is fantastic. I'll give him $57. You don't have to. You don't have to give him anything at all.
Yep.
But it's worth it for the price difference, and I do video editing, so I really need something like that. I'm like, this is great.
I think I used it for years on the free version.
Yep.
And in the last 12 or 18 months, I think I bought the middle pack.
Yep.
To do a couple of things when I was working out. I wanted to do motion tracking.
Yep.
And I wanted it to track certain things and stuff. And you needed a pack for that. I'm like, $25, whatever it is, I'll buy that. I've been using it for 10 years. Like,
why would you pay $459 to something else? And even just to upgrade, $189 was the lowest I could get it to. I'm like, I've got Camtasia 9, which is not supported anymore, hasn't been for years because they brought out 2021 and all of newfangled stuff. It still works. I can still download the old copy, and it still registers with my registration code and everything that I bought it for. It was probably like $280 or something back in the day. But yeah, I'm like, no, these guys got me sold. I'm really, really happy with it, and going to learn a lot of funky features and stuff. So I'll keep an eye out for that.
It's relatively simple, and I like it too because you can save workflows. So if there's something you do regularly, you can save it as a workflow rather than a template, and it's a fluid version of itself. So if you're editing files that are similar and you're doing similar intros, similar outros, similar file lengths, you save it in there and it goes, oh, hang on a minute, we'll just adjust this and do this. And it does that all by itself and then just lets you double check it.
Yeah.
Like, you don't even need to mess around and go, oh, I'm going to do this and put this here. Like, templates are good, but templates are literal repetition work. So you're doing exactly the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
But the fact that you can, it's got enough fluidity and enough AI to figure out that, okay, this isn't quite the same length, or this is slightly different bit rate or whatever. I'll just adjust it and make it work.
Yeah.
On Linux now, I'm thinking about still using that because apparently I can install it under Wine and it'll work. But at the moment, I'm just using KDE NLive.
Yep.
And it's not a lot different.
Okay.
It's not quite as powerful, but for like 95% of the stuff you ever want to do,
good enough.
It's perfectly fine. If I ever need to do more than that, I'll switch back over again. But for now, it's the default pop store install. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I've edited the last couple of shows with that. And speaking of which, the show's scheduling hopefully will start to improve a little bit more. So it's been a bit odd in the last few weeks. Sorry about that. But there's been a combination of events.
Yep.
Not most of which is do have to say get well to Glenn as well. He's having a bit of a rough trial at the moment, and if you guys haven't heard from him for a while, it's because he's a bit under the weather. So if you guys want to probably hit him up on Facebook or Twitter and wish him all the best, that'd be good. He'll see
great.
those most likely. So
yep.
Normally we rag on him, but we'll let him off this week.
Yeah, just this week.
Yeah, just this week. Yeah. So
I should say, new Free 64 magazine got to me today from the UK.
What's this thing you're holding? I don't recognise.
Yeah, Commodore 64 newsletter magazine.
Magazine?
All glossy and stuff. Got pictures, and there's a guy and his brother, the Rolands, who used to make really good games for the Commodore 64, like NES style quality, speed, and everything. Creatures 2, and Mayhem and Monsterland, and Cyberdyne Warrior and Retrograde, and they were doing that all when they were like teenagers over in the UK. And this guy's got a column now where he talks about all the stuff that he, how he did stuff and why they chose to do things, and what inspired them with other games that they saw at the arcades and stuff like that. So it's really interesting.
Saw some of the old 80s lesser known pinball machines. Or the late 70s, early 80s, come off sale on Marketplace.
Yep.
And I remember when I was working in the arcade 20 years ago, it would be 25 years ago.
What's that, Grandpa?
Yeah, I know, right? These ones we were trying to sell at that point because they'd already run there 20 years, they were done. And they were a $500 machine back then.
Yep.
And yeah, these like B grade pinball machines. Well, I mean B grade in terms of the names of them. Actually, mechanically they were fine, but
yep.
They were like $25,000 and $30,000.
Ah.
I'm like, these are the same things we were almost begging people to come and get rid of for $500. Like,
yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Big chains, they're a big collector's thing now, and they have the Newcastle Pinball Association every year where they fill up the club that I went to a few years ago with my daughter with just pinballs all on free play and stuff.
Yep.
Even going back to the really old ones that had rubber band bumpers and a ball and the flippers and stuff, all manual, no electronics in it at all.
The only thing about pinballs, other than them getting a little bit more complicated with their scoring systems and lighting and stuff, they haven't changed a lot. I mean, I know now there's full LCD ones, like they're not even a table with a ball. They're literally all digital now.
Pinball dreams.
I'm not interested in that. Like, that's wrong. But yeah, they're effectively still just they're basically still just the same principles. Like, they haven't really changed the way that they hit the balls and the way that they collect the balls, and all that stuff is not a lot different than it was when was it Space Invaders Pinball or whatever it was, the first one that came out. So yeah, back in the late 50s, early 60s, whatever it was.
They were banned in the US because they thought it was a form of gambling.
Oh, I mean, I can kind of see that to some degree. It is definitely addictive.
Yeah.
But that's human nature. Everything we do is addictive, which is why we do it. Like, that's why there's things set up to do that, whether it's even shopping. Like, they have shopping down to such a fine art. You walk in, you rotate through the aisles in a certain direction, they place certain products in certain places, like, because that human nature is such a predictable thing that they know exactly what they're doing. And pinball machines, arcade machines, claw machines particularly, because
they're the biggest con.
They really are, because they don't want you to, I mean, you do
you pay money for a machine to not work.
Yeah. And what's interesting, and yes, there are some hacks and there are some ways to increase your chances of getting it.
Wiggle it really hard.
And it also comes down to how much of an ass the machine operator wants to be and sets the claw, how soft they set the claw. But there are ways around that. But one of the, remember, there was one that it wasn't a claw machine. It was like a prize wheel thing, and it would spin this way, and there was half a dozen different buttons.
Yep.
And you'd press a button and it'd stop in a zone in front of you. I spent, like, when I was working at the arcade, I spent ages, because I had most of the games figured out. I spent ages trying to figure out the pattern. Like, there had to be some sort of pattern to this thing. Couldn't figure it out. Couldn't figure it out. And I was collecting the coins out of it one day and went into the settings menu. And there's actually in the settings for that one, under controls, there's a delay setting between when you press the button and when it responds. And you can set 0, 1 millisecond, 2 millisecond, or you can set random. And random was between 0 and 10 milliseconds. So it didn't matter when you press that button, you don't know what the delay on the other end of it's going to be anyway. So it was completely pointless. The button really wasn't connected to the machine.
Wow.
But because they weren't a gambling machine, there's nothing saying they're just a game of chance.
It's not like
a
the
gambling
pokies where you have to give away a certain percentage.
You have to pay your 85% and stuff like that. You didn't have to do that on these. And it's like you'd rig the coin stacks.
Yeah.
You know, and you'd rig them and you'd pack the stacks so that when they got nudged far enough forward, the lip on the machine would go up like that, and the stacks were tall enough that when they hit the lip, they'd fall backwards.
Yeah.
They'd fall into the machine instead of out of it.
All the scammy things.
Oh, it was great fun.
Guess what I've been getting? Oh, sorry.
Hate me. Sorry, I was going to say they used to hate me when I went to other arcades.
No, because you knew it. I started getting into last night Satisfactory.
Oh, that's a great game, isn't it?
That's a fun little game.
Yep, I love
Did
that
you
game.
know what I found out though? If you start it up, you've never played it. I put up a server in the lounge room computer like I do. Join the server, and you don't get the introduction or get taught how to do anything.
Yep, I discovered that.
So
too.
I'm walking around going, it says, you need to make the hub. You need to make the hub. I'm like, how do I make the damn hub? Where do I go to make the hub? What do I collect? It says, well, you walk up to a bush and it says, press E to pick up the bushes. So I've got all these grass and all these leaves and wood and stuff. And I'm going, I don't know what to do. And these great big monsters come running behind me, chasing me, and some breathing fire, and some that are like 40 feet tall, and some flying through the sky was stingray kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dinosaur.
Flying through them. I'm like, what do I do in this game? So I was like, okay, it can't be terrible because a lot of people seem to love it. So I went and watched a YouTube video, and this guy's like, I'm going to take you right through everything from create the game world right through beginner stuff. So he does create world, and it does this little cartoon animation of things that you do in the game. I'm like, I did not see that. Why? And then he puts you in a capsule, and you go down to the planet on this capsule, and it opens up, and the guy pulls down the things, and you walk outside and start walking around. It's like, okay, hi, I'm your handy little computer that talks to you called Ada. Press Q to do this. Now press V, hold down V, and I'm like, wait, that didn't happen on my one. What's going on? So I thought I'd start it in single player mode. Oh, there we go. It's got everything.
Yeah.
Now I know what I'm doing.
I did exactly the same thing as you. Because before you decided to play Valheim, I'd actually been playing that for a couple of days.
Oh, right.
I was waiting because I think you'll still get the server up, or you're trying to figure out what you wanted to play.
Yeah.
And that was one of the 3 games. And so I actually started playing that for like a day or two. And yeah, it wasn't a bad game. Although I discovered, don't put your base directly over the top of the mine that you want to mine.
Oh, it doesn't work. But I love the little portable mining robots. You chuck it on there and he goes, pops up, turns around, looks at you, settle up, and then starts digging, drilling through. And the great big huge smeltery you make to put your iron ore and your copper ore and your
what's the other as far as I got. I think I've got, because the map I started on,
limestone.
There was like nothing. Like I walked for like 2 hours just to find a resource to actually mine. I'm like, I should restart. I'm like, no, I'm here now. I'll just keep going. And it's one of those it's like Minecraft in some regards. You just get these absolutely horrible hands you're dealt with sometimes when you start the game. You're like, no, screw it. Game, you put me here. Right, that's it. I'm going to show you.
I just walked along for a while, and it's like you got to do a hub. I had a bit of a look around, ran away from some monsters and stuff. And I'm like, he looks like a nice little bit up on a bit of a hill, because like your Minecraft always go up a bit of a hill. I build the hub there, and it's like, okay, you need iron. the spot that I picked specifically because it was near a couple of iron veins. So I thought I'll start there. Then it goes, okay, now you need copper. So you use your device. Bloop, where's the copper? Oh, it's 150 meters that way. Well, that's handy. Okay, go over there, put down a couple of machines to drill there. What do I need now? Limestone. Oh, you just look over the edge, straight down there, some limestone. So I got 6 of the robots going, and I'm right in the middle of all the different ores that I need at the moment, which is fantastic.
Yeah, it's yeah. As I said, I haven't played it since those first couple of days I played.
Yeah.
But from what I remember, it's a lot of fun.
I got the hub up to level 4, put on a smeltery, put on an engineer's workshop, put on the hub gets upgraded so that you can put biofuel into it, like leaves and wood and stuff, and it turns into electricity. So I hooked them all up with electrical power lines and stuff and started everything going, and just grab all your stuff, put it in there, you go over to your robot, pull the ores out of your robot that he's drilled, shove it in the smeltery, turns it into ingots like in Minecraft. And you can turn that into rods and wires and copper wires and all this sort of stuff to build up all your stuff. And yeah, it looks like it's going to be a fun thing. So once I get the hang of the single player thing, then we can go onto a server and probably start again. But at least by then I'll know what I'm doing instead of just, hi, you're on a server now. Please go build a hub. And you're like, what's a hub?
It's after fun.
How do I do it?
Last time I logged on to Valheim, there was a bloody
Raid.
dragon attack anyway. Seriously? Haven't
They
been
try
on
and
for
get
2
your
weeks.
pigs.
Second I log on and they attack. Oh, they destroyed the joint.
Yeah.
All the rock walls and stuff. That was fun.
Damn.
So,
Drakes.
anyway, yeah, streaks.
Oh, we should thank our sponsors
Yeah, our patrons.
and our coffees.
And our coffees and our PayPals and our.
Thank you,
all those
coffees.
things. We love you, coffee.
Especially level 12, super intense.
Jabba, 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 jabba.
300 coffees.
It no, it helps, guys. It just helps us keep, like paying for Zoom and paying for our hosting and all that sort of stuff. So
Our hit film.
yeah. No.
No.
That's on you.
It's on me.
I don't know, but yeah, no, it just and also too it helps us realize that there are people out there who are watching and listening and all that sort of stuff, because all we see at the back end is figures. Like figures that just the numbers, they don't have anything associated.
500 people listen. Yeah, but how long for how many of them? Did they like the show? I don't know. They downloaded it. That's all we know.
Have they heard before? Has somebody been to Harvey Norman and said all the systems automatically download it? Like,
yeah.
Not that anybody would do that.
No. Not my botnet. It wouldn't do that.
No. It's not a botnet. They're all, I know every single one of those people individually. They're all friends of mine.
Yeah. User 0007864 at gmail.com.
Oh, Barry, I know him well. I went to school together.
Yeah, Bazzy007.
Oh, dear.
Should we do some news?
Oh, we've done everything else.
Silvergate Capital has agreed to buy blockchain payments network and other intellectual property assets from Meta Platforms digital currency venture Diem Association. Diem said in a separate statement it's shutting down operations with the asset sale. Meta, formerly Facebook, first unveiled plans for Diem, formerly known as Libra, in June 2019 as part of an...
LibreOffice or...
Like Libra was the name of their cryptocurrency.
Sorry.
They invented their own one and called it Libra, and then renamed it Diem. As formerly known as Libra in June 2019 as part of an effort to expand beyond social networking into e-commerce and global payments. The project immediately ran into fierce opposition from policymakers globally, and in the quest for regulatory approvals, Facebook then renamed its digital coin to Diem and scaled down its global ambition to focus on the United States. Silvergate issued a 1.3 million shares of stock to Diem and paid $50 million in cash for the assets. So that one didn't work for Facebook, but now they're going all in on the VRs and metaverses, and everybody wants metaverse now.
I don't know so much if it didn't work. It's more the fact that nobody knew they had it.
Yep.
Like
Or what you could do with it.
it wasn't something that came up in day-to-day conversation.
You got
Steam,
so many places that are like, Bitcoin's evil, all crypto's evil, we don't want it, everything destroys, every kind of crypto destroys the environment and uses up all the electricity, which is not true. But it's getting a lot of black marks against its name at the moment, and a lot of people don't like it, particularly NFTs. Everyone's harping on how they're the worst thing that was ever invented. You're just selling a JPEG. I could buy a JPEG or copy a JPEG.
The problem, what's screwing over the NFTs is people are hosting a file on a website, and the NFT, what people think is the file on the website, it's not. It's the link to the file on the website. So all they do is they just, as soon as they've sold it, is they take the site down, the links, or they break the link, and you still own that link. Like they haven't done anything wrong. You just don't have anything to link that link to. I think that's part of what's tripping people up is it is being used for nefarious gain in some regards, but at the same time, people should be more clear about what they're actually bidding on or what they're actually buying. Are you just buying a link, or are you buying a file, or are you buying something? Like what are you buying?
Yeah. So. And that confuses a lot of people because they think it's just a bunch of stupid comic characters that somebody drew in Paint Shop Pro, uploaded and said you can pay $50,000 for this. And they're like, well, that's dumb.
Well, I mean, it's the same misunderstanding that's happening with QR codes, though. People think QR codes are evil thanks to the government. It's not the code that's the problem. It's what people do with the code. The QR code
it's just like having a shortener like Bitly or all of those.
It's
just a thing to get to something. You can't hate Bitly because it directed you to malware accidentally because some nefarious person used that service to do it.
That's right.
It's not their fault. It's not QR's fault that somebody used a QR code to send you to a malware site or whatever.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Everyone is just now, thanks to the government, everybody associates QR codes with data, with tracking and privacy issues and stuff like that. It's like, it's got nothing to do with the code. It's
to make it easier for you to be able to do stuff without having to go www.government.com/check-in/Queensland/little shop on the prairie. Enter your name, enter your password.
The irony about that is nobody would complain if they had to do that.
Yeah. They wouldn't do it, but they wouldn't complain.
No, it'd be far less secure, but people wouldn't complain about it.
And so many grandmas and that don't even know a QR code or how it is or what to use it for, or
no,
it's confusing for them.
I mean, yeah.
Would have been easier to brand 666 on the forehead.
Probably cheaper too.
Yeah. Just a hot iron.
Oh, that smell.
Bacon.
So yeah, I don't know. Well, we'll see if they do anything with it. I guess it's the same thing. It's like the Steam one. Like it's there, but who really uses it? You get the odd person buys an NFT or buys a game or something, but it's not really actively sought after generally. And
it's all very, very brand new, cutting edge stuff that nobody's really sure what to do with.
And it's all collapsed at the moment anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
As soon as they announced those chips for graphics cards again. So there was that. So Microsoft has been in the news the last few weeks about buying Blizzard and Activision and
King,
whatever else they've been after. So apparently after they've acquired all these $69 billion deals, whatever it was they had, the FTC has decided, hey, that's you can't do that.
Oh.
Because they didn't bother to check with them before they did it. Microsoft preferred acquisition of games developer Activision Blizzard is set to face antitrust review from the US Federal Trade Commission, reported Bloomberg on Monday. The deal, valued at $70 million US, I'm guessing, was announced last month by Microsoft as part of their proposed deal. Microsoft would take Activision's 10,000 employees and gain control of popular gaming franchises Call of Duty, Warcraft, Diablo, Overwatch, and Hearthstone. Oh, Heathstone. I used to enjoy that game.
Yeah, we should play that again.
Yeah, it's been a while. If it's approved, $70 billion deal would become Microsoft's largest acquisition. While both the FTC and Department of Justice both have authority conducting the antitrust enforcement, only the FTC will be involved in this merger review. The FTC reported to look at whether Microsoft, which makes Xbox consoles, merging with Activision would harm competition by limiting rivals' access to major game titles. Because that wouldn't have been part of their plan at all.
No.
Microsoft's acquisition to It's really hard to say that. Microsoft's acquisition to Activision. Sounds like it should be their catchline or something.
Yeah.
Could face tough scrutiny with the FTC and Justice Department antitrust divisions. Jointly announcing last month they would rewrite guidelines for mergers. And that announcement, both departments noted US industries have become concentrated in recent years. And surge in merger filings over the past 2 years threatened to worsen the situation. But what was interesting was that on Monday, Sony announced it will be acquiring Bungie for $3.6 million.
Everyone's like, Nintendo, what are you going to do? Come on, you got to buy somebody.
So Bungie does like Halo and Destiny and stuff
Halo
like that.
was Xbox exclusive, wasn't it?
When it first came out, it was, yeah. I think that was dropped.
That's
after.
where the card Cortana and stuff is from.
Yeah, I think they dropped that after like the first Halo. And when the second one came out, they re-released Halo and other stuff, and I don't think they kept it Xbox exclusive after that. Maybe they did, but I don't know. So I have a vague recollection of playing it on PC.
Yeah, it's
Halo.
not on PlayStation, just PC and Xbox, I guess, Microsoft stuff.
Yeah, it wouldn't. It's not on PlayStation. Yeah, so the companies explained that Bungie was still operated as an independent game studio and self-published games. Bungie is about 900 employees and headquarters in Bellevue, Washington.
Now it can come to PlayStation, though.
Well,
Microsoft would own the IP.
Yeah. Well, if technically Sony own it, I mean, this is an important step in our strategy to expand the reach of PlayStation to a much wider audience. We understand how vital Bungie's community is to the studio and look forward to supporting them as they remain independent and continue to grow. Well,
Don't people have to be able to buy PlayStation 5s, though?
There's that.
There's
But
that.
my question is, if Sony buys it for the PlayStations, does Microsoft still get it for the Xboxes?
Yeah, that's the question.
Or is it like they're going with two separate games, or
maybe a new IP altogether?
I don't know. Interesting.
Yeah.
I love in this one they're talking about. Then they're going to say last week Microsoft bought Activision, and then it's got your normal Call of Duty and Diablo. Then it's got Warcraft. Then it's got Candy Crush.
Yeah, that was the one by King.
It's funny. But yeah, so I don't know, all these acquisitions and people buying. I mean, I get it. Like, there's only half a dozen major game developers left.
Triple A's, yeah.
Like they really.
It's like half a dozen companies now own everybody.
Yeah, I mean that's the way.
We'll stick with our indies.
Well, they've been doing us right so far for the most part.
Did you see Satisfactory is published by Coffee Stain, who do Valheim?
Yep. That's why I think part of the reason I like it.
But the quality of the graphics, like real high-res photorealistic stuff in that one.
And they don't it's not super CPU, like GPU intensive. Like, it runs fairly decent even on a lower end system.
Yeah.
Surprising actually how well it works. So they're optimizing it quite well, obviously.
Yeah. Probably all in Unity.
Oh yeah, but I mean, even there's a lot of games in Unity that are still really framed. So it's not just being able to program it; it's being able to program it properly.
Yeah. Apple is planning a new service that will allow small businesses to accept payments directly on their iPhones without connecting any extra hardware, such as Block Inc.'s Square terminals. The new feature turns the iPhone itself into a payment terminal and will let merchants accept fees with the tap of a credit card or another iPhone on the back of the device. Shares of Block fell 3.6% to $106.98 in early trading on Thursday. Apple's been working on the new feature since 2020 when it paid about $100 million for Canadian startup MobiWave, which enables smartphones to accept payments with the tap of a credit card. The system will likely use iPhone's NFC chip that is currently used for Apple Pay. This effectively allows Apple to bypass rolling out new hardware because a significant amount of customers already carry the iPhones in their pocket. However, they said unless Apple can offer a cheaper product and easier platform, some business owners may be reluctant to switch. Square currently charges $299 for its device and a fee of 2.6% plus 10 cents for every transaction.
Hey, no, it doesn't. Oh, okay, yeah. They've got two machines. They've got like their FPOS machine, which is $299. Then they've got the actual Square terminal, which is the one most people use that attaches to your phone or a tablet.
Ah, yeah.
And it's like $35. That's what we use. We've used
Why
a few
wouldn't
of
you?
them. Yeah, we've used a few.
You're not
We've
going to
used-
buy an iPhone now to do it?
We've used Google Pay. We've used Tyro. We've used the Banks ones. We've used a few
Albert.
different ones. And
Isn't the Commonwealth Bank one called Albert or something?
who'd know? But yeah, we've tried a few of them, but we've come back to Square because it's just
Simple and
does
it
what it's
works.
supposed to do. Yeah, you do pay a little bit more in transaction fees than some of the other ones, but it's in your account the next day, and everything just behaves itself. So,
Don't worry, be happy.
pretty much. So speaking of Apple, Meta on Wednesday or Facebook saw its shares fall after our trading reported mixed Q4 results and lower than expected outlook for the first quarter. On a conference call, the company detailed the extent to which Apple's iOS charges are hurting a business, forecasting $10 billion impact in 2022.
Oh.
In Q4, the impact of Apple's iOS changes were in line with expectations, similar to Q3. CFO David Weiner said on his call, "We believe the impact of iOS overall is a headwind in our business. Headwind on our business in 2022. It's on the order of 10 billion, so a pretty significant headwind for our business." Apple's iOS 14.5 upgrade released in April included app tracking transparency feature that had a notable impact on digital advertising. The ATT feature requires app developers to get permission from a user in order to track their activity across other apps and websites when using an iPhone or iPad. Like Meta, the social media company Snap has complained that the update OS is impacting its revenues. So yeah, this goes on for a while, but they're basically CFO said that Google faces a different set of restrictions from Apple. He suggests Apple is motivated to favor Google because of billions Google has been estimated to pay Apple in order to remain the default search engine. So yeah, so they're not happy with Apple changing the parameters and actually having to ask people if they want to be tracked.
Yeah, and other people are wanting to sue Apple for locking everything into their own app store. They want people to be able to install other app stores and or just download and install programs on their iPhone now. I think Epic is big in that.
This comes to the whole side loading thing again, doesn't it? Where Apple says, no, it's going to break our hardware. And everyone's like, well, no, I mean...
It's just going to break your monopoly.
Yeah. It's going to break your bank a little bit. But it's not going to hurt your hardware.
According to a post on the Microsoft IT Pro blog, Windows computers will need at least 8 hours of online time to obtain and install the latest OS update successfully. Tom's Hardware says another revelation of the post is that Microsoft tracks how long PCs are connected to Windows Update, calling statistics update connectivity. The data is available to IT managers in the Intune app, a component of the Endpoint Management Suite. The post details Microsoft's attempts to figure out why some Windows devices aren't getting the latest quality and feature updates, and discovered that 2 hours of continuous connectivity was required to get updates. It then took 6 hours after the release of the patch for a machine to update itself reliably. Microsoft's figures show that 50% of Windows devices left behind by Windows Update and running a build of Windows 10 that's no longer service do not spend enough time connected to have the patches downloaded and installed in the background. This figure drops by 25% for customers using a serviced build of the operating system that lags behind in security dates by 60 days or more. The good news, as reported, is that Windows 11 updates are smaller than their Windows 10 counterparts due to improved compression and new Microsoft Graph APIs, which should help speed up the update process. I think the other problem could be people blocking Microsoft updates because they just don't like the damn things.
They don't like the fact it breaks your computer every time it installs.
Mhm.
That's something to do with
Well, if it convinces you to go to Linux.
it. Well, hey, look, it hasn't broken once since I installed it, and it's updated a lot. So,
Touch wood.
and I'll give these guys credit, man. This thing updates at least once a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're on the
Keeps
ball
on
with
top
their
of
updates.
everything.
Yeah.
I updated the game server the other day with all the stuff.
Yep. Yes, it's we upgraded our website the other day, didn't we?
Yeah, and then downgraded 4 hours later. There was no website, was there? Thank you, Joomla.
Felix, yes, that was. No, don't mention anywhere that your update's going to completely break the internet. No, don't worry about that.
Everything says here's a couple of little plugins or components that may cause issues. Not
Yeah.
your whole website won't work ever again. Some people didn't have backups. Fortunately, we were using Akiba backup and backs up absolutely everything, including databases, files, info, everything. Otherwise, yeah, SOL.
Yep, paying a bit more for the hosting because we've got more data usage, obviously, because they're backing everything up. But a situation like that is definitely worth it.
Yeah.
Couldn't believe that. That was ridiculous.
I've got a copy of it on my computer here. Your backup of your website on my computer here, on the Mac laptop, and on both my servers in the lounge room. So if anything happens again now, I've got a copy everywhere.
Oh dear. Yeah, well, even that was painful, wasn't it? Even to get a backup, a backup of the backup. Like it didn't want to.
No, problem was if you upgrade, then all the files are overwritten, and if you drew a backup which copies over the top of those, some of them are still the new one, some of the old one, and the whole system craps itself. So best thing to do is just wipe everything, install Joomla fresh, then install the backup into that one, because the database tables and everything change as well, and you can't downgrade database tables to older system.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
almost no templates work, almost no components work.
I wouldn't have minded so much, but they were sending me 30 messages a day.
Yep.
Saying you need to update, and they still are.
They probably would have this morning because it was on 3.10.4, which was the one that I restored it to. So I quickly did an upgrade to 3.10.5, probably about 4 o'clock or something.
Okay.
Hopefully that'll slow it down.
Yeah, but I mean, at some point, obviously they're gonna ditch this, so we're gonna have to figure out how to make it work. So that's gonna be fun. There's gonna be a whole lot of mucking around for a couple of weeks. Because it's not like we've had this website perfectly operational for years. It's like literally only just been put up and put together and got functioning properly. So it's
don't break it now, please.
Yeah, pretty much. So, speaking of Facebook and all that is their intelligence, Meta receives its first ever criminal charge from Australian billionaire Andrew Forrest. Andrew Forrest has accused Meta of not doing enough to prevent scams from appearing on social media platforms. Australian iron ore magnate Andrew Twiggy Forrest has launched criminal proceedings against Meta in local courts, accusing the company of failing to prevent various scams and ads from using his name and image. The lawsuit is the first of its kind, as Meta, formerly known as Facebook, had previously never faced criminal charges. The circumstances behind this lawsuit are also uncommon, as it's a criminal proceeding arising from a private individual suing a corporation. Due to these circumstances, Forrest needs to get the approval of the Commonwealth Attorney General before he can go ahead with the lawsuit. The Attorney General has been contacted for comment. In a statement, Forrest said he filed the lawsuit and allegations that Meta committed 3 offences against Australia's anti-money laundering laws. Those 3 charges, all filed to the Magistrate Court in Western Australia, allege that Meta is criminally reckless, as it did not take sufficient steps to stop criminals from using its Facebook platform to send scam advertisements to defraud Australians. This action has been taken on behalf of those everyday Australians, mums and dads, grands and granddads, who work with their lives to gather their savings and ensure the savings aren't swindled away by scammers. I want social media companies to use much more of their vast resources and billions of dollars in annual revenue to protect vulnerable people. The people who are targeted and fall victim to these horrible scams are the hard-earned savings. The Australian lawsuit follows Forrest launching a separate civil lawsuit against Facebook in the US 6 months ago. According to Forrest, both lawsuits were raised after he contacted Facebook platform to prevent his image from being used. In response to the lawsuit, Meta said it did not want to provide specific comments, but said generally it does not want ads that scam people out of money or mislead people on Facebook to be on its Facebook platform. Yes, it does.
Do you know what I've seen a lot of? Advertisements on Facebook. So they've been paid for money to Facebook, advertising, get in early for the Facebook crypto, which is just launching, called the Meta coin. And the Meta crypto, there's several of them. It's not just the one.
Yeah.
This is a scam that people are running about Facebook, talking about. And you go to the website and it's got a picture of Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook Meta logo and everything on there and in the ad. And Facebook can't stop scammers using their own images and stuff to scam people on their platform and then paying money.
Yeah.
How you just see these come up and people are like, oh, when's this going to launch? Oh, I've got to get my Facebook Meta coin or whatever. And it's like they're not doing it. But Facebook is allowing people to scam using their name.
Meta says scam ads violate our policies and are not good for our community.
We don't like it. They're very naughty boys.
We take a multifaceted approach to stop these ads. We work not just to detect and reject the ads themselves, but also to block advertisers from our services, and in some cases, take court action to enforce our policies. We're committed to keeping these people off our platform.
Bow.
Now, would you like to try again? Phone a friend, maybe?
Oh, dear, it's hopeless. They don't
it goes on
care.
a bit more about some of the other stuff that they're, child abuse. He's also hitting them up to, they're having breaches and custody battles and stuff. So, but yeah, it's that was what found this story interesting. Okay, he's suing him, whatever, but the fact that they're like, not us, our platform's fine. I don't know where these ads are coming from.
Yeah,
it's like
from the sky.
Like literally, you've just said that, like you take all action against them, but when you're actually asked to action something, you just don't.
Yeah. That's their MO.
Unless their Facebook fact checkers get involved.
Yeah. Anything this is fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's it for me. How about you?
That'll do.
Thanks for listening to the Aussie Tech Head Show. We can be found at Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Patreon, and Coffee. Email us, willowarlock@aussietechheads.com.au and go to aussietechradio.com, 24/7 playback of tech-related shows. See you next time.
Bye.